3 steps to making sales from direct response marketing. Now, direct response means that you actually get a response instead of just advertising for image, which is something some big companies do. But if you're an entrepreneur, you got to market for response. Now you say, well, Marlon, what difference does it make? Why should I even freaking listen to you today? Well, number one, I've sold 70,000 products online. But number two, you know what I found is there's so many methods and there's so many things being shoved at you every day in your email box, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, that sometimes it's easy to lose sight of what's the big picture. And once you understand the big picture, then it's pretty easy to take these other things that come along and just fit them right into the big picture. So good morning. Give me a shout out and just let me know that where you're listening from. I always like to see where people are listening from. So we're going to cover the 3 steps of direct response marketing that have made me 70,000 sales and can probably make some sales for you, whether you're just starting out, starting from scratch, you already have a business, maybe you're a local business. This works for any kind of business. I don't care if you're a Pizza Hut coach, chiropractor, dentist, doctor, holistic practitioner, coach, online seller, e-com, whatever it is, this method works for you. The step number 1, and I think today is the easiest and also the most challenging, is you've got to put your message out into the marketplace, which number 1 means you have to have a message to put out. But see, that the key here is that message has to resonate with people. It has to be on the same vibration that they are on, kind of like that old Think and Grow Rich thing about the vibration, law of attraction, vibration. Well, there is something to that in terms of your message, because when you put your message out there, the people who resonate with that message are going to respond to it. So you got to have reach. And it's the easiest thing to do. There are more ways to get reach, to get your message out than ever before in the history of direct response marketing. Back in the 1900s, all you had was direct mail, and you had ads in magazines and newspapers. Today, there's 1,000,001 ways to do it, which also makes it the hardest, because there's also, quite honestly, 1,000,001 other people who are also doing it. So, by the way, just give me a shout out if you're here. Tell me what city it is that you're watching from. I always like to see what cities people are watching from, city and country. All right, so you got to get your message out. That's what I'm doing right now. You got to know, number 1, what your message is, and number 2, you got to get your message out on channels. Now, here's the big secret. Come closer and listen, because this is really important. It's so easy sometimes to say, well, my sales are down. I don't have the sales I need, or I don't have any sales because I'm starting out. And you get focused on the sales, which is the wrong thing to put your focus on. It's not productive. The thing to put your focus on is, number 1, do you got the right message? And if you got the right message, how people respond to it. If they're not buying and they're not responding, then you probably got to tweak your message. Markets change, things change. Sometimes you got to change up your message. The second thing, though, is you got to get that message. If you're not getting the money in, you're not getting enough responses, you're just not getting your message out to enough of your ideal prospects. You got to get the message out. Now, that doesn't mean you have to work harder to do that. It could be using leverage. Leverage can be affiliates. Leverage can be paid ads. Leverage can be collaborations with other partners. There's a lot of ways to get reach, but you got to get reach to your message, or you're screwed, because none of the other 2 steps out of the 3-step formula don't work. They don't matter if you don't have reach. So good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining me today. Give me a shout out. Let me know what city you're in, city and country, so I can give you a shout out on this live stream. Now, once you've got reach, now what you've got to do is you got to pull people in. You got to get them onto your email list, and you may have retargeting lists, you may have SMS text messaging lists, you may have direct mail lists, but you got to get them onto your list. You got to pull them in. How do you pull people in? Well, typically you pull people in by offering a free report. In my description, I have a free report that I offer. And if you go to resellertoolkit.com/kitchen sink. I believe that URL is below in the description. I got a whole lot of different freebies for you. I got like 3, 4, 5 different freebies for you there, right? So you got to have freebies that get people onto your email list, get their phone number, get addresses and so forth, or what's called an LBO. Now, LBO is a low barrier offer. So a low barrier offer. Now, so your step so far is you've got to use leverage to get your message out to more people. If you don't have money, that means affiliates, or it means collaborations, or it means manual work like direct messaging people on LinkedIn or Instagram or wherever, right? It can be content marketing like I'm doing now. Then you need to have attractive freebies to get people onto your list. And you know, one of the interesting tips that Myron Golden gives, and I need to split test it. Honestly, I've not split tested this, but it's the most fascinating thing, is Myron says that when you're attracting new people, it's much better to talk about how to avoid mistakes than it is how to get something positive. So avoidance versus approach or gain, right? So helping to avoid pain versus getting gain. The reason is getting gain is not believable, but avoiding pain is something. They have pain, it's urgent, and it's more believable that you can help them avoid pain than that you can get them gain, which is a fascinating thing. I would love to split test that sometime. So that's your tip today. Maybe try using how to avoid mistakes and things as your lead generator. See what kind of response it gets for you. Now, step number 3 is push. And step number 3 is what most people are really pretty good at, which is pushing their message out, making their offer. The only thing is that it's the most successful when you're not focusing on your offer, you're focusing on what people get, right? So instead of focusing on your offer, you got to focus on what people get. And this is a small difference, but it's a really easy one to screw up. We get so we want to sell our product. We know our product's great. We put so much time, sweat, energy, blood, and tears into the product. We talk about the product instead of what you're giving, instead of what people are receiving, instead of what they're getting. And they're not interested in your product. They're interested in what they are going to get. I call it the you gets. They're interested in the you gets. What are they going to get? They're not interested in what you're selling in your product, right? And so these are the 3 essential steps. And it sounds so simple, but if you look at every method, everything being promoted, shoved at you daily, they either have these 3 steps or it's just really messed up, right? And so you got to look for yourself. Like I did a product, it's on my kitchen sink page, resellertoolkit.com/kitchen sink, called the 4 traffic sources. Because you got to look and say, for you personally, if you're a writer, you got to get your message out there by writing like guest posts. Writing for Medium can be really great. Medium is a really, really, really cool thing, right? Pushing your message out there, getting your message out. By the way, if you're watching live, let me know what city and country you're in. So you got to get your message. You use writing to push your message out there. Blog posts can also be good. If you're a talker, then obviously you do things like YouTube videos and so forth. Seminars with other people. You speak at summits. If you're a things person, like you're an organizer, you organize summits. You organize bundle giveaways. You use those organizational skills to organize the reach to get your message out. Now, if you're really great at organization, usually you're really great at detailing. You can also be really good at ads, because ads take a lot of attention to detail. That's mostly what ads are. It's not that there's such massive secrets. It's that you've got to be constantly on top of them, right? But with good organizational skills, you're not limited to paid ads. You can do what are called bundles, where a bunch of people participate in a giveaway, and you can organize giveaways. It's very beneficial to the list owner. You could organize virtual summits. So you got to look at your skill set, right? What's your skill set? And how can you use that skill set to get your message out there? By the way, let me know what city, state, your city or country you're listening from if you are live. If you got any questions on this, feel free to ask it. And so, a lot of people aren't doing collaborations. They're not participating in collaborations. And I think this is a huge area that's currently like an underutilized and underserved part of the market. Uh, One way to do collaborations that I've done is collaborating with somebody else on a product. So I collaborated with David Perdue, and we called it, I think it was the 11 traffic secrets or something, like 11 list building methods, right? And I did a collab with David Perdue where we did a seminar just between us on Zoom, and we covered all 11 methods. David covered his, I covered mine. We packaged it together in a product. He sold it to his list, I sold it to my list, right? I think we use an affiliate link for that. I don't remember. Hi, Russell. How are you? By the way, if you haven't, Russell, it's just for you, dog. Marketing Playbook by John Zagula. You probably saw my message on it, but for you, it's how Microsoft Office was built from the ground up, and how John Zagula beat out Lotus 1, 2, 3, and every other competitor, freaking crushed all of them. There's only 5 marketing plays that Microsoft runs. Nobody knows it. There's the platform play, which might be what you should be running. There's the drag race, there's the stealth, there's the high-low, and they're both and. For example, Microsoft Surface, it's both a laptop and a tablet. That was a both and pitch. Microsoft only has 5 plays. It's the most fascinating book by John Zagula. It's just amazing. He also has a 5-hour seminar on YouTube that's pretty freaking incredible. So you've got collaborations, and I believe we're under collaborated. In other words, I don't see, the affiliate game has just become this big hype game, and it's simply about recips. What we don't really see so much as collaborations. Now, smart people like Brian G. Johnson on their YouTube channel, they're collaborating with other people. Like he has Nick, I think his name is Nimmons, come on his videos, YouTube videos, and they do that together, and that draws Nick's people to Brian, and then Brian will go to Nick's audience and do the same. So these are called collabs. There's a lot of ways to do them. Underutilized are virtual summits. You can speak at them, or you can organize them. Obviously, there's more money in organizing them, but it's also more work. There's no way getting around that. Bundles are a big thing right now. Like in my market, guys aren't doing bundles. I don't know why. You don't see many guys doing bundle offers. The women are really smart. I think they're more natural collaborators. Guys are like competitors, right? The women are more collaborators. And so they're out there doing all of these bundles, hosting bundles, being on other people's bundles. The amount of activity of women entrepreneurs doing bundles is simply amazing. If you don't know what's going on with the bundles, you can go to Collab Station. Just look up Collab Station. There are hundreds of collabs that are available, and it is simply mind-blowing. And so to summarize our 3 steps today, number 1 is we have increasing your reach. So if you don't have enough money coming in, it's because you don't have enough reach or your message is off. It's really the only 2 possibilities. So getting reach today is easier than it's ever been, harder than it's ever been. Harder because just to get attention, get people on your live stream is not freaking easy, right? Or to get any of your messages noticed, that's really a big challenge today. But it still comes back to this. If you're not getting the money in, you're not getting your message out, or your message is off base. Then number 2, once you get your message out, you want to pull people into your list. Use your freebies. I've already mentioned my freebies on my kitchen sink page at resellertoolkit.com/kitchen sink. I got 4 or 5 freebies for you there, and some really great low barrier offers, which are like $7 offers. They're like candy, right? So you pull people into your list, and now you push. But when you push, you don't push your product. You still lead by giving. You lead with the with them. You lead with the what's in it for me. And that's what I think a lot of people screw up on, and sometimes myself, is because we're focused on our product instead of the you gets. What are they getting from it? So that's what I have for you, Russell. Thank you for joining me. I do appreciate the support. marketing playbook, man, I tell you, that drag race thing, how the stories of how he won drag races with Microsoft Office, not just against Lotus 123, but others, like it's a friggin' amazing, it's fascinating. The platform play is where you bring in other players in the market so everyone has an incentive to support you instead of dog you out. And this is what Microsoft did extremely well with their partner programs, where the whole freaking market has some kind of a piece of the Microsoft pie because of how they arrange really elaborate, really sophisticated partner structures. There's this really great book about Microsoft. I have it right here. It's by James Maston. It's called Product Launch. And this goes into a lot of the things that Microsoft did with their partners to do what's called a platform play. And then there's both and high-low. It's a fascinating thing. Now, small marketers do what's called stealth, and that's really what I'm trying to do is find whatever your little sliver of the market is. Find your little edge of the market and dominate that, right? And Russell does a whole thing, Category Kings, which is a whole nother level. That's about dominating a whole freaking entire category. That's really what Marketing Playbook is about, the 5 ways that Microsoft has done that. All of you should get it and read it. It's a freaking incredible book. So anyway, thank you for joining me today. Russell, do appreciate you. Appreciate the rest of you all. You all have a great day. I will be back. Bye-bye.